I knew that, like, it's easy to intimidate Kathleen Willey. It's easy to intimidate Monica Lewinsky. It's easy to intimidate, you name them. What's that woman from Arkansas that accused President Clinton of raping her back in the day?
When he was in Arkansas.
Yeah, he was the governor of Arkansas.
Yeah, I don't remember her name either.
Yeah, it'll come to me. Juanita Broderick.
Yep.
Broderick, is that right?
Yeah. It's Juanita.
Juanita, I think it is. Yeah. So they're easy to intimidate, not because they're women, but because they're, he's the governor or the president, and they see themselves as the little people. I don't see myself that way.
Yeah.
I've been carrying firearms and protecting everything from our nuclear arsenal to the people that run our country since I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm not painting myself as a tough guy, but, I'm desensitized to a point of where I'm almost numb about certain things.
Sure, of course, yeah.
And I'm not saying that's always good.
No, you almost have to be, yeah.
Yeah, and at times, though, you have to check yourself. A couple of times, if you want to talk about this later, when I was an air marshal, I caught myself being just a little too cold to society.
Really?
Where you had to reel it back in a little bit.
Yeah.
And because regardless of what your job is, you still need to be a decent human being. And so anyway, but I didn't, that was not my fear so much as the Clintons was just raking my name through the mud. And my family's, because listen, up until I wrote that book, if you'd have gone to the people I worked with in the Secret Service, all the way up to the directors, and said, "Hey, did you know Gary Byrne?" They would not have a bad thing to say about me.
Yeah, I was going to say,
me.
you probably were like a stand-up guy.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Listen, I joked earlier about drinking the Kool-Aid. Dude, I was mixing it, handing it out.
Yeah.
I loved it. If 9/11,
Jim Jones here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If 9/11 hadn't happened, I would have stayed there. I mean,
Really?
I might have had an aneurysm or a heart attack or a stroke from the stress and the work. They just work you to death, and that was one of the things I wanted to mention was, you talk about the stress of working around the Clintons and stuff. The real stress in that job is the stress that the Secret Service puts on you. So just real quick, if they need 100 people to do something, they use 60, and they work that 100 in overtime until they die.
Really?
Yeah, they've always done it. They're still doing it. They try to deny it, but
how is that even efficient or effective?
It's not. I mean? It's not. But that's the way we've always done it.
Wow.
Listen, if somebody in the very beginning took a hammer and smashed their thumb every day, they'd still be doing it.
Wow.
In some cases, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But so anyway, that wasn't my real fear. My co-writer Grant Schmidt, like, he was a little concerned about it. I'm like, either we're going to do this or we're not.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. At this point, I had told them no.
Yeah.
But I was going to give them 4 months to research, and so after 2 months, Grant and I, and I told him, I said, look, I'm not a writer. I'm a shitty writer. I have ADD and dyslexia.
Same. Yeah, same.
I'm a train wreck when it comes to. I write like a cop. Who, where, when, why, how.
Yeah.
I can take an incident that took 7 hours and I can put it in 3 long. 2 paragraphs, and that's it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else in there. So, so I gave him a writing example, and I told him some stories, and so I said, there's a couple always and never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You never ever have to expand or exaggerate on anything. I said, my life is unbelievable as it is. I'm a kid that barely got out of high school, and I stood inside the Oval Office for years.
Yeah.
I worked outside it. Presidents, I can't say they knew my name.
Yeah.
But they said, "Hey, boy."
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I said, and that doesn't happen to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I said, I sail under a magic star. You don't need to expand on anything. I am not trying to burn down. When I say no, it means no. I'm not going to debate it. If something has to be a certain way and you don't understand why, you're just going to have to take my word for it.
Yeah.
Because there's things I'm never going to tell you. I'm going to tell you a lot. But there's stories that you're never going to hear, and if we stumble onto them, I'm going to back up. I'm going to tell you to destroy the tape or whatever, or we're done.
Wow.
But I am not. I don't need to just. I can tell my story without upsetting, without ruining. Like I said, there's people on that staff, and even some of the people in the Secret Service, some of these agents that were just complete jackasses. 20 years later, 25 years later, do I really need to disrupt their life and embarrass them?
Like,
I do not.
Yeah.
I do not. It's not right. It's not fair. And it's abusing, in some ways, it's almost abusing your privilege of speech.
Sure.
So, so anyway, after 2 months, we had 3 working chapters and a forward. And I was flying home from Germany one night, and I completely flipped the other way. I
Like,
decided.
fuck it.
Almost. I mean, but more, like, I'm like, I'm like, what do I do? Like, if she runs, this is way before we knew. I mean, I knew she was going to run. I mean, everybody.
They set it up.
But you had no idea that President Trump was going to be the nominee.
That was crazy.
No, nobody knew.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, 4 months before, I guaranteed it. I knew it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you about that
Sure.
later. So, but I'm flying home from Germany one night. I'm on a Boeing 767. Everybody's asleep. The only 4 people that are awake are the damn air marshals. The plane's dark except for the 4 spotlights where we were sitting there reading.
Yeah.
And
wait, you were an air? Oh yeah, air
yeah,
marshal.
I was an air marshal, right?
Oh, I have.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
From 2003 to 2016.
That's sick. All right.
16.
I have
Yeah.
questions on that later.
Yeah. No.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm reading through it, and I'm staring out the window, looking at the moon, and I'm like, crap. If I'm in a unique position to tell our side of the story, and if I don't, and she becomes president, and she's probably going to become president anyway.
Yeah.
But if I don't tell the truth, and some time down the road, some arm of the government is marching out my front door with my firearms, how do I look my kids in the eye and say, maybe I could have done this?
Yeah.
How do you, and I have, like every parent, I have this huge emotional attachment to my children. But just to kind of fill you in, when my mind's a little odd, the day we brought Elizabeth home from the hospital is the day that Congress released our depositions about Bill Clinton's impeachment to C-SPAN.
Jesus Christ.
Everything we said about him got released. It was unbelievable. When Elizabeth and Ethan, they're 4 years apart. She was 12, he was 8. She was working on a history project at school, and the subject was the federal government or something. And it had something to do with Bill Clinton or something. It wasn't about the scandal.
Yeah.
And I'm
of
like,
course not. Yeah.
So I sit them down, on the couch, and I hand Elizabeth my Mac, and I go, Google these words: Bill Clinton, Gary Byrne, White House guard. She Googles and she goes, well, Dad, I know that you. I said, well, okay, here's what you have to understand. I did nothing wrong. My coworkers, we did nothing wrong ever.
Yeah.
We followed the law. Somebody else's bad behavior sucked us into their weird life, the president's life. We did nothing wrong. We followed the law. We resisted as long as we could. When we finally had to tell the truth, it was that or be prosecuted ourselves.